Good afternoon. This is Media Center Ukraine Odessa, and we continue today. We would like to apologize for this delay. We had to wait until the air raid alert was over. And I would like to say that you can ask your questions online. You just need to follow the QR code to scan the QR code that you see on your screen. And in the next 15 minutes, we will discuss the presentation of the book, The New West, the Ukrainian Dream. Our speakers are Yaroslav Romanchuk, president of the Mises Research Center, economist, and Mykhailo Kamchatnyi, coordinator of the project New West, Ukrainian Dream. And would like to give floor to Mr. Kamchatnyi. Good afternoon, dear audience, dear journalists. I'd like to say a few words about the book. The book was published in late May. In June, we made presentation at the all-Ukrainian level in Kyiv. And starting with July, we started visiting the different regional centers of Ukraine to present the book. And Odessa is the 18th city we're visiting together with Yaroslav. And we present this book to journalists and media, but we also meet with the representative of academic circles, businesses, and all those who are interested in the topic of reforming the economy of Ukraine. And apart from these tours, in August, we disseminated around 500 copies, including 404 libraries of Ukraine at different levels, at the regional, city level, and also the libraries of universities and amalgamated communities. Just a few words about Yaroslav Romanchuk. Yaroslav is one of the few economists in post-Soviet countries focused on the reforming of post-socialistic economies and their transition to post-capitalist economist. And this is his third book, the second book published in Ukraine, and it dedicated to the economic reforms in Ukraine. And just I would like to remind you that you can ask your questions online in Viber, Telegram, WhatsApp, and you can also scan the QR code that you can see on the screen. Yaroslav, there are a lot of positive reviews of your books. For example, Mykhailo Podolyak, the advisor to the President's Office of Ukraine, says that this is not only a book, but a step-by-step manual how to make Ukraine the country which is attractive for investors. This book is not only about theory of reforms, but this is also a program and the strategy development. On the 24th of February, when the full-scale invasion started, I had to present strategy in Kyiv, but we discussed with our friends, with colleagues. We decided that we need to get ready to develop the vision of the economy of Ukraine during the war and after our victory. And it took me 15 minutes to finish the book. And this is a scientific perspective of how Ukrainian economy should develop during the war and after the war, taking into consideration the economy developments, the overlook of the past, and the prospect for the next 30 years. Our economy is in a very difficult condition. We need not only to make some superficial changes, but we need to make significant remorse, not to waste the fourth chance. For the last several years, we had first the Orange Revolution, the Revolution of Dignity, then the Green Revolution, and now we have a historical chance when Ukraine is number one in the world. Everyone knows about us, and people admire us and support us, and we should not only use grants from the United States, from our partners, but we need to involve private investments from private companies amounting to like trillions of dollars. So we need to use the enterprise growth theoretical model. Entrepreneur should be at the first place, as the main operator, not officials, corporations. No, this should be a Ukrainian entrepreneur. And the central element and important element of the whole book is the concept of non-material assets, which is called economic freedom. Economic freedom is the bottom line of this entrepreneurship model. And when it comes to monetary policy, money, loans, regulations, etc. And when we combine this with one more non-material assets, which is trust, and we can see that there is a huge level of trust among Ukrainians, then we will combine this economic freedom and trust, we will be successful. In June, this book was presented to the president of Ukraine, Mr. Zelensky, to the government, and they are very positive about this work. It is now under the discussion. And when everyone says that we need to the economy of the $1 trillion and need to ensure the economy grows amounting to 70% for the upcoming years, this is a scientifically grounded approach. I understand that this is impossible to present the whole concept for 10 minutes, but for people to understand us, for our audience to understand us, can you briefly explain what should be done after the war, after our victory, to develop thriving economy in Ukraine? But we can do this during the war, actually, because this is same as treating people. We should not postpone the treatment of people. When it comes to monetary and loan policy, it should be stable money, stability money, legalization of criminal in the for the budget area. These are three taxes, contrary different to what we have without VAT, without the profit tax, and the tax on salary. And the best solution for customs, this is the 5% threshold, still universal. Then deregulation, then regulatory guillotine. Then this is the support of individual support to people with a specific criteria. This is privatization because it is needed. There is no question to this. And also for the entrepreneurs to have access to loans, we need to dramatically change the functioning of the monetary market. Ukraine is on the 169th positions when it comes to the index of the open loans. And when we eliminate the barrier, we will have 5, 6, 7%, not only for the selected group of people, but all businessmen. And that's why we present this reform as the Ukrainian borscht. We need to add quality elements. And then the loan will be effective. And when it comes to our tasks to bring back 10 million Ukrainians to our country, they will not go to Ukraine to get social benefits, but they will come back to Ukraine, to their homeland, to protect and to develop their future and the future of their country. So we have these elements, the entrepreneurship, freedom, economy, etc. Instead of mention taxes, this is the taxes on retail and services. There should be the flattened rate, 13%, 10% on the tax of the revenue of physical and nature individuals, and also we need to have increased excise. and we can ensure 50% of growth of economy by eliminating the gray sphere of business activities. One of the biggest humor of our economy is corruption. Do we have such risks for the future that when you start implementing the represented strategy and the concept that you will not be able to deal with the corruption? The corruption is only a consequence, the discretion of our macroeconomical policy. And when the 50% rate, interest rate for the loan, but the other loans are higher, then this is corruption. Then we have the customs duties from 5 to 40% in one group. This is also corruption. Regulations are also corrupted. And we use the experience of the most developed countries of the world. And this is not by multiplying anti-corruption structures, but this is through liquidating of the sources of corruption. Corruption is in the monetary policy, in the loan sphere, because the biggest banks earn a lot because there is no free market. We can liquidate corruption in VAT and to collect additional 250 million budgets. The country issues additional like $300 billion, and this is absurd. We need to protect the sources that we need, and we need to liquidate VAT during the war and during modernization of our economy. When there is no officials, there is no tools for corruption, there is no corruption. But what should we do with our officials? When it comes to the friend in need is a friend indeed, they can also rely upon the support from the budget as any other person because they are also Ukrainian citizens. But when it comes to the experience of Georgia, Ireland, and other countries who were able to introduce structural transformation and the creation of another labor market, these are very experienced people in law, in finances, and management. They will be able to find jobs very quickly, I think. So this is not the question what we should do with them as the state. We should just create those structures for these people to be able to find jobs at the labor market. And we know that there is a huge demand for labor now at our market. Or they can find some other source for earning. Do we have any questions from the floor? Please don't forget to take the mic. Please unmute yourself. We just need to please unmute yourself. Where can your book be bought? We have created a land page. You can Google our book, which is called New West, Ukrainian Dream, and at the end of that web page, you can find the list of online and offline stores where the book can be bought. The floor is yours. I have the question both for Mykhailo and Yaroslav. What do you think? What should every family do for such an innovative vision of their family life and business? Can you share some details about innovative development of families? Or maybe we can just have the bigger question, what every Ukrainian can do to help develop our country? This is knowledge, this is the education, because in Ukraine we have a low level of understanding of the Ukrainian economy. Only 1% of Ukrainians understand the tax burden in our country. We don't understand understand how much money we gave to the state, and we cannot receive services from the state for that money. So we need to liquidate this economic illiteracy, and we need to improve the situation at different levels. I can agree with Yaroslav, and I can only say that every family should decide for themselves as for the level of their economic background. We are not talking about the education, traditional one, but this is just their knowledge at the market, in a store, and for their household activities and their expenditures. And that's why now there are a lot of tools for people to improve their knowledge. That's why I would recommend to Ukrainians to learn more about this topic, to learn more about economic issues, not only to get information from the government and from the state in different economic areas. We are in Odessa, so what will be the role of the south of Ukraine in the development of our country, including after liberation of Crimea? We are going to enter the European Union. European Union envisages the competition of the regions. For that, we need to have a real decentralization, de-regionalization, and Odessa should understand its portfolio, the investment and marketing phase of the region, and how it be built in the general policy of the EU regions. And Odessa, for example, could ask the central level to make a real decentralization. This is not only about taxes, this is also about the powers Odessa could have at the Odessa region, at the Odessa region level. And this is not only about Odessa, this is about all regions. So this is an offer to make decentralization, which is for the state planning and not for the development of the modern state. And as the contradiction and the reloading to this model, which is the Soviet Union 2.0, we have a very important task. We as the economists, political sciences, and regional elites. And Odessa will, of course, ask some money from the central level, but Odessa need to make a real development to be competitive with other regions of Ukraine and other regions of the EU. The short question: how would you assess the marketing phase of Odessa? Odessa is history. This is a cultural phenomenon. But this is not an economic phenomenon. Odessa now has a chance not only to develop based on its culture and tradition, but it could do what Hong Kong, Singapore, and other phenomenal states and cities did in their time. That's why we need to develop the brand of Odessa and have such approach. Thank you very much for joining the Media Center Ukraine Odessa. We had to start the next briefing at noon, but because of the air raid alert, we postponed the first briefing. That's why the next briefing will be in 10-15 minutes.